All right, Justin, you want to lead us in our invocation?
Yes, sir. Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we love you. Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for the many blessings you give. God, we just thank you for the beautiful weather you've given us. Pray that you just continue to keep us safe as we go throughout our summer. We pray that you would just be with the teachers and the schools as they're getting ready to kick off coming up next month. Lord, we ask that you just be with the decisions that are made today. We ask for wisdom for our leaders. We ask for safety for those who serve, the first responders. And God, we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Samantha, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and convene our meeting. We'll start with the roll call. Misty Cottle.
Here.
Jeff Upton. Here. Jan Throgmorton.
Here.
Marty Lindaberry.
Here.
John Collins.
Here.
Dina McKnight. Stephen Pence. Don Rollins. Our city attorney and city clerk are both present. So we do have a quorum and we can begin the meeting. The first item is the adoption of our agenda. I would like to make one change to that. Kind of last minute, I invited a developer to come and talk to the council about a project that he has. He's doing some other projects in the city, but I just thought it'd be good if you guys could hear some information. I've been relaying information to everyone each month, but I thought it would be good to have a developer come in and talk a little bit about what he wants to do. So if you guys would be all right with that, I would like to add that to new business, item 1.
Does he have a name?
Land Brandon. Land Brandon.
Land Brandon.
I'll make a motion we adopt the agenda. With the
That's
change.
okay. With the change.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
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 Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Approval of our meeting minutes. Do we need to make any changes to last month's minutes? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a,
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as mailed.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say yes.
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 Next is our public forum. Is there anyone that would like to address the council tonight? Okay, close the public forum and move into our business reports. Walter, you have the planning commission report?
Good evening. So last month, we had a lot split, but a representative didn't show up, so we didn't get that done. Hopefully we will this month. Other than that, we're still moving forward ahead with the draft for the change in Title 4, Ordinance 14. And the mayor is going to be talking to you about hopefully contracting Garber Associates as consulting us with doing the map, the future land use map, and the master street plan and sidewalk plan. And just we're not really in the best suited position to really get a full view of it, and Garber would definitely be an asset to us. So other than that, I don't know if you have any questions for me.
Any questions for Walter? Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Next is the court report. Tracy?
Hello. Our disbursements were up last month. Our tickets were up last month. Our year-to-date is up. We're very busy. We have signed an agreement to start doing scanning, so hopefully some of our file cabinets will be going away and another expense that we have. So we're hoping to move into this century, I guess, before too long. Everything seems to be going smooth.
Awesome.
Any questions for Tracy?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Tracy. Next is the library report. Shannon?
Hello. So our numbers are looking great and continuing to grow since from a year ago for this month. Budget-wise, I do have a couple of line items underlined: equipment, maintenance, and retirement. There's good reason for all of those, but There's also areas that we're going to pull from. And so with equipment, we decided to purchase more equipment versus cleaning supplies. For maintenance, that was due to a plumbing issue, but we're also deducting from books, DVDs, and audio, and we're not planning on purchasing as much there. So I feel like everything will still fall under budget. And then lastly, I want to discuss in more detail purchasing the land by the library. I wrote something here to the council to best express my thoughts on this topic and to kind of understand where the library is coming from and just the library's future. So the landowner of the land by the library did say he planned to move forward with his plans for the land. With the lumber prices, he had initially paused his work, so this could be the final chance, if we still have a chance, to obtain that land. It seemed the biggest concern with the council from last month's meeting was it not really seeming like a fair trade. The city sells land on 71 to a developer, and in return, the city purchases land by the library. So I have 3 questions for the council. First question is, what land is better for a developer to own? From my understanding, the developer would like to put a driveway and potentially develop something new on 71 on that city property. So are businesses on 71 a goal of the city? And then secondly, what land is better for the city to own? The library recently received a grant, which we're supposed to get this month, for $4,300 to purchase outdoor furniture for outdoor programming. Where should we begin to plan our outdoor area? Our friends of the library, they're also interested in donating towards this outdoor project. So potentially we're looking at $5,000 to $6,000, and I think that's a great start to an outdoor project. The area is more public, and though we're not responsible for the patrons out there, it seems safer and more accessible for students and the community to get to based on the location in the city. At first, I thought we had to claim this land and know our exact purpose, but after thought, I would love to propose a 2-year plan and then additionally maybe a 5 to 10-year plan that's pretty flexible. So this plan would develop as we grow and continue to understand the community needs. So a 2-year plan and something we could do even with the $6,000 to start with, an outdoor area, small shade with places to sit, safe space for kids to hang out, walkable from school, an outdoor work area with Wi-Fi. A 5 to 10-year plan. It doesn't have to be anything huge or very expensive. Garden path, outreach opportunities, growth space for the library. That's the only space we would have to continue to grow if that's something that we're looking for with the library in a 10-year plan. Small amphitheater, small pavilion, accessible playground, extra parking, walking path with West Fork history plaques, etc. Finally, I'm excited to tell you that we're planning a grand opening with Crystal Bridges. And that will be October 3rd through the 5th. This grand opening will be, I'll call it like a 3-day festival. And we're gonna have an event on Sunday from noon to 5, Monday 2 to 8, and Tuesday 2 to 8. They came, Crystal Bridges did, for a site tour, and we just look at the parking lot area and the area overall that we have as a library, and it's very limited. So this is one example of needing more outdoor space to host events and programmers. We do have a homeschool project and program called Magic Passports, and we would love to do more experiments outside as well. So I'm doing this because there's been so much public interest as well. Hey, what's happening over there? What's happening over there? And I feel like it's my responsibility to speak up for the library since I'm there every day and tell you what's going on. And even if we don't need it right now, I mean, we just finished a huge project, so part of this is like, oh, here we go. But it doesn't have to be something that happens tomorrow, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for West Fork and for the library and community. Thank you.
Any questions for Shannon?
Sounds wonderful. Your plan sounds good, I think.
The outdoor grant we received definitely helped us kind of brainstorm. So now that that land has been cleared and cut, we really are able to look out the window and see a lot of potential there.
So it's absolutely can't grow anymore without it, right?
That's right. I mean, we have the front that we're working on a better parking lot.
Mhm.
We have the side that was initially designed there was an outdoor space, but I think because of budget that was taken away. And then unfortunately with the pandemic, we just realized how much we need an outdoor space. The only space with shade is our old area. It's very narrow. If you remember the old entrance, that's our shade. So when we got this grant, I was thinking, well, we'll put the furniture under that. But it doesn't really make sense if we could acquire ultimately more land. Well, we could spread out and have tables, and we see it as being something really nice. And that entire area we could cover with Wi-Fi. So as far as someone saying, well, where do I have that 24/7 access? It could be on library city property. And it wouldn't just be library intentions, just it seems like city and community overall, it's a more central location.
Any other questions for Shannon? So it looks like the library's getting busy.
Yes, we are.
We're still continuing to see more people in the door, more items in and out.
That's right. And we fall in line overall, statistically with the county. There's Springdale, who we really usually don't compare ourselves to. Prairie Grove has a higher population of around 6,000, Farmington 7,000, and West Fork falls equal to circulation with Farmington. And our population we know is in the 2,000s, almost 3. So we're sometimes third in that rank and sometimes fourth with the circulation and what we're doing at the library. And we're seeing a lot of that also from Winslow and Greenland. Sometimes Winslow Library is closed, and both of those locations are just not as accessible with the time that we are. So we're seeing patrons from that way. So when we wonder who we serve, it's definitely more than the West Fork area as far as the library goes.
So I even talked to Shannon about potentially reaching out to the county, the county heads the library system that we're a part of. And so reaching out to them to see if there's something we can do to better serve the Winslow community. And I don't know what that would look like. We have no idea. But I think it is potentially an opportunity for us to continue to expand our library reach. It's expanded a lot with Shannon, even through COVID. But so if there is something that we can do with Winslow, I don't know what it would be, what it would look like, but I would be open to exploring that. So just so you guys know, if Shannon comes back and she's got some update on that, that's kind of where it came from.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. And just a second, Chief. So also, she kind of glossed over the fact that Crystal Bridges is participating in our grand opening, and I'm sure we'll get more info on that as we get closer to it. But since we weren't able to have a grand opening once that project was completed right in the middle of COVID, Shannon's been thinking about how to set it up, when to have it. Crystal Bridges is obviously that is a big win for us if they're going to be involved, and they're going to participate in it for 3 days. So that's I think that's going to be huge for us. So thank you, Shannon.
It is a 3-day event. I'm super excited about it, and it's called a Mobile Arts Tour. So we're 7. One other county library, Springdale, is doing it, but we're the only other county library that has the opportunity to do that. So music and arts and just celebrating the grand opening as well.
Awesome. How'd you do that? Good job.
All right, Chief Nelson.
I don't think mine's gonna be quite that exciting.
I think that's a good thing, Chief.
Yeah, for us, that's very good. We had 149 citations, 143 warnings, 67 warrants, with, I believe it was 6 arrests. I was really impressed with the 4th of July at the park. It didn't seem to go. I don't know how the trash is going. I'm sure there's still a lot of trash, but
It's been better.
our calls down there have been non-existent compared to years past. So publicly, I wanted to apologize to the sheriff. I asked you to ask him to come speak, and then I find out when he's come to speak. For you guys that don't know, we did a memorial, not a memorial, but we dedicated the ball field to our fallen police officer. When I got there, I talked to Tim Helmer. He said, "You know what? This is my least favorite thing to talk about. I hate to do this." I said, "I'm sorry, I wish I'd have known," but he did an outstanding job, and it went really well. I think 4th of July went well for us as far as the fireworks. I kind of sat back and let some of my guys that have been here a little bit longer, longer than the other officers, kind of handle things, and they did a good job. It was put together well, and I think it went pretty smooth. Any questions for me?
What's your big capital outlay in here?
The car.
Car, that's what I figured.
The car that's just in limbo. They have not even started it, to my knowledge. They don't have any information for us besides, I guess once they take away this number that they have for it, that means they've started. We still have that number.
Welcome to post-COVID.
Yeah, so.
And so while, it's a good question, while he's on that, how's the other car operating?
So our Ford that has 75,000 miles on it, we thought the transmission went out. So we sent it to Fayetteville Transmission. They said, no, it hasn't gone out. We can't see a problem with it. Had to take it back up there yesterday. Now they say, yep, it's going out. It's about gone. So our choices for that is I can get a transmission that's, they can redo the transmission, overhaul it, and they will warranty for a year for $3,200. Or I go to Ford and get a brand new transmission, but they're looking at about $6,000. And as you guys know, my my vehicle maintenance budget is $12,000 for the year. So, and it's getting to be an older car, so we'd be better off if we're going to keep it. To me, I think it'd be better off just to overhaul it and pay the $3,200. That's what I'm looking at. So.
Any questions for Chief Nelson?
No, but I'll tell you, Tim doesn't mind doing that.
Yeah, I know now. I know
He
now.
doesn't mind. We talked about it, and he enjoyed it, so,
Did he? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Also, if you guys read that letter that was sent to Riley, I want to congratulate him for going the extra mile on that. You know, I guess she had thought that we towed her car. We hadn't. It was the property owner. But he went ahead and gave that woman a ride and her daughter to the wrecker, stayed with them while they got the car, and did everything he could to help them. So I was proud of him for that.
What I was most proud of, Chief, was that after all of that, she even confirmed that Officer Riley has above average intelligence.
Yes. She informed me she was a professor for years, and he showed above average intelligence. And when he didn't know, he made phone calls, she said.
So Officer Goggins, you're in here, you can relay this to the rest of the department.
I have no certification of having above average intelligence.
I'm aware of that, sir.
That was low.
It was. But in all seriousness, and I've said this, I don't know how many times, what you guys do is obviously not for me. I couldn't do it. But the group that we have here and your willingness to go above and beyond, just like this. This is one of many letters that has been read on y'all's behalf in the last couple of years. But to me, that is the finest thing that you do. I've seen you in the rain changing tires. That is not in your course of duty, but to me, that is doing more for this public and community than any of the speeding tickets will ever do. And so I just commend all of you guys for that, and in all sincerity,
That's
I'm
what
really
makes the
proud of it.
department.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
You guys get a bad rap on most everything, but I know, and this council knows, that the group that you guys have here is, I just don't think there's any other small town that has a group that are this dedicated to our community. So, thank you.
Well, and just to let you guys know, I literally had to force the hand on some of these guys. And some of them still didn't do it. Just to say, I always set aside on 4th of July, I set aside that money so everybody gets overtime that day. I had 4 of my 5 officers didn't put in for it. Didn't write it on their timesheets. I said, guys, that's why I put it on there, was for you guys to get it. And I'm gonna make sure that they get it at some point. But, well, we just do it because we like to do it. That's good, but that's not how it works. But that's kind of the dedication that they have. They want to help, and they're willing to do whatever you ask of them. So, makes it easy for me.
Yes, yes. All right, thank you, sir. Next, Isaac, Public Works Report.
I'm gonna get the street stuff out of the way, and then Nick and I can talk about the sewer. y'all probably noticed that our state aid paving got approved, and it came through here like a whirlwind. I got a call on a Wednesday, we had a pre-con on Thursday, and then they started paving the next Tuesday, so. And, they did McKnight Street, and I drove all of them, they look good. McKnight Street looks good. Owl Hollow, which needed it horribly, it's in way better shape. And then a stretch of Butterfield. We did have to pony up $50,000. So when we sat down in the pre-con, we started cutting stuff off of the actual contract price, and we ended up cutting Pleasant Street, so we didn't get to pay Pleasant Street. So we will keep applying for that, and we'll be on our next one. I think we're eligible to apply for that every other year. So as far as our in-house paving, that went out to bid Saturday along with a project Chad's got. It's going to include about 1,000 feet of James Place, maybe 1,200 feet of James Place. And we have lumped Shannon's parking lot in with that as well, so we should get a bid price on that. It'll run this Sunday, and then we'll open bids towards the end of July. So, sewer rehab is still ongoing. They are probably weekish, maybe 2 out of having Westwood done. They're going to put it on pause right there and clean up what they tore up, and then they will start the school property. Nick and I run down and made a punch list of all the stuff on the gravity line that needed to be addressed. They're working on that, and Randy said end of the month.
End of month is his target. I'm not sure if he'll hit it with some of the with the epoxy coating touch up, but I think the other major items he can knock out by end of month.
And Nick and I finalized or getting close to finalizing the school plans, so we can get those turned out to Randy, so he can start getting some pipe and manholes ordered. Nick, do you want to give an update on where we're at on the sewer main?
Sure.
And the ponds.
Yeah, I guess bigger. Yeah, on the ponds is probably the bigger thing to talk about. So, through about this week, we've had White River Hall, and they've hauled about 3/4 million gallons of biosolids. The end of June, they started getting into the heavy stuff down on the bottom of the smaller pond, taking it to Huntsville, and Huntsville called the timeout. Their plant couldn't handle what we were sending them. It was just too heavy. We call it inert. There's not a lot of it's almost like old dirt. I mean, it's broken down so much it's just bogging down their plant and overwhelming it. They couldn't process it. So they put the brakes on it and said, you can't bring us you can bring us all the water you want, or the real, pretty much water stuff, but the heavy stuff we can't take. So we had a meeting today. We got White River there in Boyles. Started talking about some options, what we can do. Came up with several things to look at. We're looking at land applying, either from Huntsville's got some sites we could potentially use. Denali's got some sites that White River could contract with. We're also looking at other locations that could take the waste. Fort Smith is one that we would like to reach out to. We have talked to DEQ. We had a conference call with them this afternoon, let them know as well. We sounded the initial alarm of, hey, it's mid-July, we're supposed to be done end of August, and we hit something unforeseen we couldn't anticipate off the bat. So we're trying to find a solution that addresses both the schedule and stays within the cost of what we originally budgeted. And we've told White River that. We do that, have the ability, Isaac and I worked out last week a deal with Fayetteville. We can send the clear water from the big pond into their system for treatment. So that is something we can work into the deal as well. So we're asking White River to work with us, and we'll work with them and trying to come up with something fair to finish this out. And like I said, the states, they're aware of it now. We don't have a solution yet, but they know that we're working towards something. That was the main message to them today, is we're not sitting on our hands just saying we give up. We're trying to find a solution and we'll communicate with them. So that's where we are. It's not the best news on the ponds, but we're working through it. So trying to think anything else. That's been the main thing, is keeping us busy.
Pond has been the big hang up for us.
It has. It's been a challenge and a lot of lessons learned, I can say. But a lot of questions, but there is a potential, we may need to extend the consent order. I did address that with DEQ today. They didn't cringe. I think they understand. We've been pretty transparent with them throughout this process. So, one other item I had here, my update, my apologies for getting it out late, I'll do better next month, but next month I may be coming forward with I hate the word change order, but we've got some minor items to resolve with the contractor for paying for some electrical work that Fayetteville's going to cover that cost. We've got some other items we talked about today that for the punch list that need to be done. But what I was planning to do is do it with what I call reconciliation of pay items that haven't been used. So whatever we come in with, it's not going to be an increase in cost. If anything, you might see a decrease in the total contract value, but we still have to do the change order to allow us to pay the contractor. So I hate the word change order because everyone kind of cringes, but it's not a bad one. It's one that just helps get us closer to the end. So, any questions?
Sounds like your hands are tied. I mean, not really anything you guys can do other than what you're doing.
Yeah, we've asked White River to get us, I guess the other one was, Missouri. Springfield, Missouri has a facility that they'll take whatever you send them, apparently. So we've asked White River to price out the subcontracting to Denali, and to talk to Huntsville about land application. And then I've got a favor to ask of the mayor after the meeting to help us with Fort Smith maybe. But we've all got our homework to do, and hopefully in a couple of days we'll have a direction we can see if, about heading down that way.
Okay. Did everyone see the notes on Isaac's budget?
Yes, can someone explain?
I can sure try. On water, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Where's the see next page?
Christy left me a cheat sheet. So the maintenance and repair that is about 3/4 gone. That was Grand God Kingdom pumps was $6,500 of that. That included the pumps and the truck that we had sitting there 3 days to pump the sewer to keep the daycare open. So, and we had.
Hang on, let's pause right there for just a second. So for everyone that isn't completely aware, the West Fork sewer system does not go north of Dye Creek Road. It just doesn't. However, 20 years ago, whenever Growing God's Kingdom went in, that's been close to 20 years ago, they ran a small line up to it, and they put in a pump station up there.
State funded all that through the.
Yeah, and so that is the only sewer that we have north of Dye Creek currently. So we're ready to get more sewer that way, but currently that's the only thing we have. But there is a big pump out there that line is just what, a 2-inch or 3-inch line?
2-inch pump line is all it is.
That comes back down to our old wastewater facility.
It catches Grove God's Kingdom and the house right behind it. There's
Yeah.
only 2 services on. And it was a lightning strike that knocked both pumps out. So that, and we had a couple of backups. One on Cedar, one on Red Oak, that we had to get help from Joe's bunch. What is it? Ready Rooter. Ready Rooter come out and worked on that. So Joe from White River brought his back truck out. So, and of course they don't happen during the day, so we pay overtime charges and weekend charges. So they weren't cheap. The outside services one was partly Nick's fault. The That was some engineering for a water main extension on Red Hawk and a sewer main extension on Hidden Creek. After the lot split out there on Hidden Creek, we extended the sewer up to catch that one house that's gonna be off Smith. And then Red Hawk water extension caught the two houses that was originally, I think, Steve Winkler's property that sits back up there by Kick Lines. So that's why those are out of whack just a little bit. See, Christie's notes paid off. I was right on that.
She takes care of it.
Any
Hey,
other questions for Isaac?
I will report that we are treating half as much water as we are buying.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really good. I hope it stays that way.
However, for the month of June, if you guys looked at those two numbers that we pointed out a couple months ago, you can see that they're upside down for the month of June, which was a wet month.
Yeah, that was 2 months in a row that we dipped into savings to pay our bills to Fayetteville, so.
So we're
Hopefully we'll get that
still,
going the other way before long.
Man, I hate to wish for a drought, but I could use one.
Even a short one.
Yeah.
so since that time, we have replaced, how many feet of line down off McKnight, South
McKnight
McKnight?
Street was 1,000.
1100.
Yeah, 1,100.
And they're in the process of doing that along Westwood, and then we still have that big job over at the school. And we're hoping that the combination of those three is going to greatly reduce that I&I that's getting into the system. Correct, Nick?
Great.
Yeah. You heard him.
Mm-hmm.
Nick did tell me this morning that the rate study, the new rate study, is being postponed by a few weeks.
Yeah, it might be next month. When I
Yeah.
talked to them, the state this morning, I guess they're getting trained on some new software, so they're all going to be head down messing with that for a few weeks. And he said it could be several weeks before they get back into it.
So Christie will be pulling her hair out and going through that again, but maybe we'll get some good out of it.
Okay. Anything else for Isaac?
No questions, but even coming around the corner there on McKnight, there at Bonds, even I wanted to step on the gas a little bit because it's so smooth.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that's going to be a racetrack again.
They're supposed to come back and actually stripe that. They should stripe everything they've paid.
They smoothed that bridge out.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a worry to me because they did slow down for it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure now that they know it's smooth that they'll be slowing down. But it's nice.
Yeah.
It really is.
Boy, it wasn't before, was it? The big chug hole they caused.
Oh, I know. That big one.
Took the backhoe down there and dug a hole.
Hey, that just tells you how much water was coming down that sewer line, because
That
we
one.
poured that manhole
fell
plumb
out.
full of flowable fill, and it was still pumping water out into the street
Yes,
after a rain. So yeah, it was pretty spongy.
yeah, it was pushing the gravel out.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Isaac. Next is a parks report.
What's happened since I saw y'all last. I'll start with the 4th of July event. Overall, I thought it was a great success. We still had a really good turnout considering we did not give away free food and some other activities that we didn't have that we've had in the past, but we still had, I thought, a really good turnout and a good event. I do want to thank some people, and I made notes, but I'll probably still forget. But I do want to publicly thank some people. We did receive a little over $2,600 in donations from local businesses, and we are expecting about $750 more that just has been told that we're getting it, but just haven't received it yet. I am going to, when that list is complete, I'm gonna get that out publicly and thank our sponsors, and probably send them each individual letters and things as well. So, and also we did have some product in the snow cones and the ice cream from businesses as well. That was all given away free as well. I do want to thank the police and the fire department. They do such a great job on parking and getting the traffic out of there, and crowd control and other things as well. Isaac's and his crew on helping us get it set up. Shannon for filming it. Council members that came and helped and attended. Same with the Parks Committee, Mayor, Boy Scouts that also helped with parking and things, trash. So, and just general public. There were people from the churches and different people in the community that jumped in and helped do cleanup and other things as well. So I want to thank everyone involved. It makes it a lot easier. It makes my job a lot easier putting that event on for sure. The Paul Mueller dedication went really well. I thought Sheriff Elder did a great job, and I want to send a thank you out to him as well. I'm glad we wanted to do this back during baseball and softball season, but I couldn't get the plaque, and the holdup was the picture. And at one point, I almost gave up and just did a plaque without the picture so we could get it. And I'm glad I did, because if you hadn't seen it, the picture, it turned out really well. I was glad we waited, and I got a call from John, Paul's son, the next day, and he just went on and on about how honored and thankful they were. So that was our goal, really, to do something special for the family. So I do want to thank everybody. Hope I didn't miss anybody, and I'll move on. We did wrap up our baseball and softball season. It went, despite the rain, we were able to get in most of our games at our end of the year tournament, and overall it went real well. We had West Fork program had 0 issues pertaining to COVID. We didn't have any teams that had to get quarantined or any of that. So overall, with what we were going into, it turned out to be a successful season as well. I told y'all about our disc golf tournament that was supposed to happen in June. It got postponed due to some weather and some other issues. It's going to be August 21st. As Isaac mentioned, our Carter Park Trail project, the bids did get advertised, and we're going to open those at the end of the month. So hopefully that project will be getting started soon, and we'll have a trail around Carter Park. I'm really excited about that. It's been a long time coming, and we're getting ready for that. So what else? We did send out registration for our fall ball, which I'm still working on getting the word out there, getting teams registered. Registration will start next week, and games will hopefully, if we can get enough teams involved, will start in early September. And the only other thing I have, I just want to inform y'all that myself driving the parks truck, pulling my mower trailer was hit at the intersection down here at White and Campbell. It did minimal damage to the truck, and it did do considerable damage to the trailer. We'll probably get a new trailer, but the person that hit me was at fault, and their insurance, we're working with them right now to compensate us for all the damages. And I think that's it.
Any questions for Chad?
Good job on getting all the ball games in. That must have been.
It wasn't easy. We didn't get them all in, but we did get most of them in. A few teams did come up short a few games, but overall we got most of them in, and it was not easy.
And the 4th of July was really great. It was.
I thought it went well.
The air could have cooperated a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't rain.
Yeah.
It could have really
That's right.
stormed on us. So, but that heavy air that moved in, it really did create a kind of a problem with the smoke and things.
It looked like everybody enjoyed themselves.
But overall, it was a good show, and it was a good time. And the music, the way we changed it up, worked a lot better this year. It was being able to be heard throughout the park a lot better, and people were able to spread out and enjoy it a lot better as well. So we've already talked about things for next year. Of course, we won't make any decisions at this time, but we've already are working on next year's event. So
That's wonderful. And I'm glad you're okay with your.
Yes.
yeah, no one was hurt. That's the main thing. She wasn't hurt. She was mad, mad at herself for doing it. But other than that, it wasn't. Could have been worse. So.
Well, I guess we do an ordinance where all city trucks have to come in from the north.
I'm not sure what the answer is, but we knew it was gonna happen eventually.
But twice?
Yeah, recently, so.
Good job.
All right, anything else? Thank
All right,
y'all.
thank you, Chad. Next is Chief Myers, Fire Department.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the 4th of July celebration. I had a family emergency I had to go to, but thankful to all my guys that I've got a department that I can leave and trust that they get it taken care of without me being there. So thank you publicly to all of the guys that took care of that. It's not like I missed a good show. It's the first one I've ever missed. We do have one of our firefighters in EMT school for 5 weeks in Camden. I think they just started that, so there's another good long 5 weeks of that. Calls are up still, 79 for the month. I don't know if Travis included this pie chart for you last month or not. Maybe, I don't know if this is the first month. It'd be awesome if that was in color, but black and white pie chart doesn't work very well. We did get our new extrication tools in. Trying to schedule a class for this weekend, hopefully to get everybody trained so we can start using them. Give us a good backup set now. This will be our primary, but give us another good backup set. The only other thing that I've got is, I'm sure everybody's aware we had Mitch's funeral last week. Thanks to everybody that was able to attend, all of our guys that were able to come. They came and parked the truck at our fire station for the whole process, so everybody could go and honor him. So I want to thank them for being able to do that. So other than that, that's really all I've got.
Any questions for Chief Myers? Thank you, sir. All right, last is our finance report. Christy wasn't able to be here tonight. She is visiting grandkids, but she did leave us a report. Bank balances have increased $260,000 so far this year. The departments are $364,000 under budget, $365,000 under budget. City sales tax is up 11.7%. County sales tax is up 13% from where we were last year. She has a note in there about taking some money out of water and sewer, out of the savings, due to those expenses that were unexpected. She made a note about the underlines that she made for those line items that were over 50%. I was happy as always at this time of year. Department heads have done a fantastic job. We're way under budget. We're way under on expenses in almost every department, but we're way up on sales tax revenue as well. So that's, the good one's going up, and the expense line item is staying flat within budget. So department heads are doing a fantastic job of maintaining their budgets through the year, and the city is seeing good growth, good sales tax growth. So, are there any questions concerning that? No? All right. So we'll close our business reports, and Lynn, I told you that we'd get to you at 6:45. I'm 30 minutes late.
That's all good.
I apologize for that. So, if you want to come on up to the podium, and guys, feel free to ask Lane any questions you want. He had called me today, last month. I had talked to you guys about the potential of getting some land for the library. And this is the guy who bought the old Matthews building. I didn't realize, I thought I was introducing it as it came to me, and we had some time to think about things. Shannon reached out to me, was that yesterday? And she's like, Heath, Doug's ready to do something on this lot if we're not interested. And then Lan was calling me this weekend, or maybe it was Friday. I was in Columbia, Missouri, and he called me again today, and he's like, hey, Mayor, we need to talk. I'm ready to start doing some stuff. And so when he did, I said, hey, do you have time tonight to come and just talk to the council? They've been hearing stuff from me, but do you have time to come and just talk to them, tell them what that project looks like? Lan's got some projects going. He's got multiple projects in the city Right now, a couple of them are just completing, a couple of them are just coming out of the ground. But Matthews is one of them that I'm particularly interested in. It's up on the highway. He's going to keep that commercial, or at least part of it commercial, is his initial thoughts. So anyway, Lan, with that, please.
Lan Brandon, I think some of you probably know me or remember me. I'm a Westport graduate. I live up on the hill over there with my family. I have 3 little kids, so I really don't consider myself a developer. Just had a passion for real estate, and I think there's a lot of opportunities in West Fork, and just want to see this community, grow and do better and prosper. So we just finished a couple projects over there in Bloyd, a couple houses. Maybe some of you guys have seen those, and we got a couple more coming out of the ground, and a small house remodel we're doing over there, kind of in front of where Christy lives. And then we've also purchased the Matthews, and trying to come up with ideas what to do with it. I just think it's a really neat building that we need to preserve some of that character. And some of the ideas I had for that project is keeping that bottom space some sort of commercial space. Make that upstairs, which is an apartment now, make it into a better apartment. Then we've got that shop and all that land behind it. We're thinking about maybe some warehouse space or storage space or something like that. But part of this project to make it viable is you guys have that lot to the north. And the way the configures of the road, it would be more viable for us to do this project if we could gain some access on that property to the north, whether that be an easement where we can get a road, we have some parking there. The mayor talked about an idea of maybe I could purchase that ground from you guys, or maybe I could purchase this lot over here by the library and we could do a trade. So those are just kind of some of the things that, I'd like to hear your guys' input on and see if that's something you guys would be interested on. And then also if you have some ideas for, Matthews and what you'd like to see happen.
So you don't own the lot that's by the library, right? So you would buy that, just so I make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, I think yes, correct.
Okay.
That could be a possibility in a trade for that up there.
And then trade for the lot that's next to Matthews? Is that what you're saying?
That doesn't even make any sense. Is that just me?
Well, it does, but if it's.
But why wouldn't we just buy that and then sell that, if that's what we were wanting to do?
So that's obviously a potential. There could be some.
There's barriers to purchasing through the city, from what I understood, and a trade maybe would have been easier.
So that's just an idea out there that could help potentially land, potentially the guy with the lot if it was a trade situation. So there's some tax implications there that it might help them. I don't know if it will.
Willing to do that?
Well, yes, both of them are willing to do it.
Okay.
But there's nothing that says this needs to be a trade.
Right.
When I came to you guys with it, my end goal was, can we get that lot by the library without having to go into reserves?
Mm-hmm.
And is that something that we want? It's something I think would be good for the city.
We do want it.
And then my ultimate thought is a commercial developer is better off with some of that lot up on Highway 71. Do we need to keep some land so we have future development for City Hall? Yeah, I think we do. But ultimately, where is that land going to be most beneficial to the community, in a development or in grass, right, as it is now? Because the city's not going to, it'd be a long time before the city needed that entirety for city admin. I just don't see that in our future as much as I see the need for growth, and you guys have heard me say it, and I think Lan will probably agree with this statement, but something that is holding West Fork back right now is we have absolutely zero commercial space available for rent. And so if I wanted to come into West Fork and open a business, not only do I have to go through the perils of opening a new business, but I also have to go in and build a site for it, right? And so that part is, that makes it next to impossible to attract a business. If someone like Lan came in and were willing to open up some of those spaces that were rental, so that if I wanted to open a business, now I'm looking at, a lease, right? So I'm not out that initial capital to build a building, buy land, that type of thing. So to me, that's why this started to take shape in my mind was this opens us up to some commercial space where people can come in and start to build businesses in the city.
So originally I heard this lot was for sale, and I met with the mayor a few months back when I brought Schumer Mitchell, and he told me at that time that you guys were interested in it, you know, that maybe we could do something for that up there, because I was interested in that land. So that's kind of how that conversation started, because if I bought that, I'd put another house on it, which I am interested in it.
What, so you'll just rent that out then, that commercial, or do you have an idea for something to go in?
So I'm a property investor, so I wouldn't have a business, but if the viability was there, I'd like to build a space to attract, you know, a tenant to that space.
So would you build it out to, if you got the right tenant, would you just build it out to, you know, for their needs, or?
And
everything's on the table at this point. I mean,
Okay.
typically in a commercial space, you just build out the box in essence.
Are you talking about Matthews, or are you talking about the lot?
Yes, Matthews,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, Matthews.
How much land are you looking at up there?
I mean,
know
really,
there's a difference between just an easement for a road. How much?
so I'm trying to bring in a different drive on that north side to separate that residential space from the commercial space. So if I could, I mean, really all I need is enough room for parking and a drive, you know, so if I could get an easement to do that, that would be most optimal to me, but most likely you guys would probably want to sell that dirt, I imagine.
Yeah.
Or trade for the dirt. But to make this, the ideas that we have now to make this project most viable is to ascertain, you know, some of that ground on the north side. And from what I observe now, you guys are just mowing it. You
Yeah.
know? And in the future, if I was able to buy all that, and Matthews proved to be a success in terms of leasing it, I would absolutely build more structures there to the north for commercial space.
Now there you go. You said all of that. You're talking up to the
Well,
city's building, or
No, just as much as you guys are willing to
yeah.
sell.
But you said all that.
I think, and Isaac may be able to, or Chad may be able to speak more to this, but I think when you drive by there, there's a T-post in the ground, and I think that separates, there's two lots there, and I think that's the separation. So my thought would be, we would sell him that southernmost lot,
Yeah.
and we would retain the
Not just
northernmost.
50 feet for a drive. and-
Right,
yeah.
to me, the city is not winning anything by doing
Yes.
that, and land wouldn't necessarily be, he would be benefited in that he could serve the Matthews property.
Yes.
But we haven't gained as much as potentially we could.
So,
But by doing this, the property value is going to go up tremendously. It's going to create more revenue for the city versus now it's just a dilapidated place that doesn't look very attractive, even though it has a lot of character to it, I think.
so you're willing to buy that land next to the library to trade for that land over there?
It would have to
Not
be
put a house on it by the library,
no.
because we don't want you to do that.
I mean, if I bought it and there was no trade, that's what I would do. I'd
Right,
put a
without
house-
the trade,
Correct.
okay, okay.
And so I don't want the council
And
to
I'm
get
not looking
hung
to
up.
step on any toes. I mean, that's what you guys want. I'll stay away from it. You know.
And so I don't want the council to get hung up on a trade.
No, we don't
In my mind, a trade can be a purchase or a sale and a purchase. We're swapping land
Yeah.
ultimately. So don't get so hung up on we're trading one piece for another
Right.
piece.
We just don't want him to buy it and put a house on it, because the library needs it.
And so I think as a council, we can do this after we've talked to Land. This is what Land wants to do. He is interested. He is the developer that's building that out. He's also the developer. I keep calling you a developer, Land, but
Things like negative content. I don't view myself as that, but I mean, I guess I do develop some houses. I invest.
so he's also building the house across from the library on the other side across McKnight Street. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's blocks coming out of the ground on it now. Like he said, he built those two up on Lloyd Street. He sent me some photos of those on Friday. Those two houses are amazing.
Years ago, we built about a half dozen in Greystone as well. But
So he's been in this area. Every time he talks to me, he's asking, what do you guys want? This is kind of how I foresee West Fork. He always tells me, I'm from there. I want to see some of the growth. He's even mentioned, and I think we've all said this, West Fork has missed out on some of these booms.
So what we really need to decide basically, or think about, is do we want to sell him the land up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I would like for you to do at this point, though, while we have him here, do you have any other questions about development in West Fork? Do you have any questions for Lynn about anything that the city can do to better position ourselves? You have somebody who is building, he's building in Decatur. He was at Decatur City Council meeting last night.
Subdivision going in there.
Yeah,
They're trying
so
to-
he's not just building in West Fork, but this is, I thought, when I talked to him today, and he's like, Mayor, I don't really do good off the cuff, I'd like to be prepared for this, and I'm like, would you just come and talk to him, tell him what you're thinking, and then let him ask you some questions. So if you guys have any questions about what he looks for, what can the city do to better position ourselves, please fire them at him. Give him a quiz.
I know through the years we've had a lot of talk with tiny homes.
Yes.
Is that a potential of anything you're interested in?
Absolutely. So I've talked to the mayor about that. We're remodeling the tiny home now, and I hope when it's done that I can show it to you guys and maybe walk through. And my hope is, and I've talked to the mayor extensively about it and somewhat with planning. I know you guys are in the process of changing some building codes to be more advantageous with the time. So in the rest of Northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville, Bentonville, that tiny homes are a very big demand. People want smaller spaces that are really nice. So we have that piece of land over there that we're remodeling, and that is something I am going to come back to and ask for a variance to put those tiny homes on that property that right in front of Christie.
Mm-hmm.
You guys familiar with that property? It's
So there's a small house on it now.
Correct.
That he's remodeling, and what he's essentially going to propose is a development of that size house. But when we've discussed it, he said, well, let me get this one finished and do like a tour. So if you guys wanted to come through and look at it, if planning wanted to come through and look at it, see what that's actually going to entail.
Because we need smaller lot sizes, smaller home sizes with your current building codes. And that'd be encouragement for you guys, if you are changing the building codes, to look at things that are more builder friendly. That will spur people wanting to come to West Fork to build.
Well, the way that was, I guess, more or less spoke to us was that was going to be like a RV park.
That's a different property.
Yeah, that's a different property.
Yes, but I'm saying when we talked about the tiny homes coming, if they're
That was
on
how
a permanent foundation.
Working it against
Yes.
our ordinance.
Yes.
That was the.
Yeah, these are permanent foundations.
Yes.
We have 3-centimeter quartz in them, and the nice floors, and they'll be nice properties.
Yeah.
The ones he had pictures of when we were talking to him were gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not the sheds you go by and sit on your property and
Yeah.
run some water to it. You got a tiny home.
So I was meeting with Lynn, and Jeff happened to come by the city, and I called Jeff in to just talk too, and at that time, Lynn had some pictures with him and some different things that he was proposing, and that's
They
what.
were
Jeff-
awesome looking.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd love to do that next year, if you guys would be on board with the tiny home development. So we're probably looking
And
anywhere.
they're on
from-
high demand, big time.
Are you looking more for the smaller lot size and individual tiny homes going in, or, because most of the cities are
Yes.
doing like allowing them going into RV parks and mobile home parks already.
No,
Because
they-
it's already platted like that, and so you are looking for the overall smaller footprint.
Yes, individual platted lots with small homes to maximize the space.
What'd you say, 6,000 feet lots? Is that what you were saying?
I don't remember exactly. Probably like 40-foot wide lots, something like that. 40
So
50.
that's frontage right now anyhow, but.
So we come in at a main road off of 71, and then line houses going east and west. Would be the plan.
But I know there's been so many people ask about like older people that would love to see like an old trailer park or something turned into tiny homes, because they're on such a fixed income, and they don't need much space, but there's so many older people that are constantly asking about tiny homes. Could we not do something like that as a city, you know? Beg for basically someone to come in and help us,
Yeah.
Sounds like you're the right guy because you're so interested in it, and I'm like, all
There's something
right.
on the agenda that'll speak to that very thing.
Yes.
So,
And I make, as the planning process gets started, you need to participate. You need to come to the meetings because they want to hear from you. The planning commission wants to hear from you, and the consultant wants to hear from you, and the council wants to hear from you. So come and participate.
so would we have to change minimum square footage, but would it be just an overall change, or would it be a minimum square footage for a certain area that we would decide to do this in?
So I brought you some of the language that City of Fayetteville uses. They call it cottage development. So you can request a zoning change to have that cottage development on that piece of ground that now follows these cottage development rules.
So yeah, you're on the right, and it's been explained to me. I don't know if this is accurate, but it's been explained to me. The reason we have our minimum square footages in place are that at one time people were bringing in storage sheds and trying to rent them out to multiple people, especially back when the highway was going on and stuff. And so there was a reason for these minimum square footages to come into place. It was a protection, but times have changed, and so I think, Don, to your point, I think as a city we would be better off, and as Lan said, setting up a zoning, an ordinance in the zoning that we could allow it here, but we don't have to allow it everywhere, and so we could be selective about where those go.
Because I've honestly never thought that a minimum square footage was fair to everybody, because not everybody could afford to build a minimum of a 1,200 square foot house or whatever the minimum is. That being said, I also realize that there's people that have a 3,000 square foot home and they don't want an 800 square foot home next to them because they feel like that devalues their property. So I get both sides, but I also feel like it needs to be fair to everybody. So I'm not opposed to changing some of those things to open some stuff up and let's get some things going.
Yep, in the center.
Tiny homes is the new thing.
It is.
They're really hot right now.
Yeah.
They are.
And you have just, people on fixed income, even with disabilities and stuff, that they don't need a big spot. They just need something real simple. They're just a one person that just,
Limited supply of affordable housing, literally.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, because a lot of what they're building now is not affordable for most people.
No, that's right. Well, back to the lot.
So before we do that, can we dismiss Lynn? If he wants to stay,
No, you
he
guys
can
have
stay.
any questions?
but,
I
I just want to make sure you guys get all you can out of him while we have a developer at council. So me and Isaac are meeting with him, but you guys aren't getting that opportunity. To me, that was
Real estate investor.
Yeah, real estate investor.
Maybe we should make a stipulation that if we work with him, that he works with our planning. City planning. We can work out a deal with
You
him.
need to do that anyway, I think. Sure.
I called about a year ago, see if they need any help, and they told me no.
Well,
But
I'm sorry to hear that.
I think he has a heck of a plan and needs help doing what he's going to do.
So how soon the property there?
I think it's something that we need to discuss tonight.
Yeah.
And start getting some ideas. Like I said, the land he's ready to start moving on the Matthews property and get some stuff done there. Doug is ready to either start moving on the library property or get it turned. So I think we do need to get to a position where.
Are we waiting on Dina, or let's do it?
Well, I was just waiting to. I didn't want to keep Land if he has other commitments tonight.
Right.
So if you guys are
I'm
finished,
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So let's we can go ahead and talk about it now, I guess.
With the south lot of that up by Matthews, would that be sufficient probably for what it sounds like it will be, but
I mean, If I could get an easement, it would be the most ideal, but I don't think the city would want to do,
No,
No,
we
we
don't
don't
want
want
an
to sell
easement.
that property rather than do an easement, because if we give you an easement, then there's nothing.
We'll
not
sell you an
left to
easement.
sell.
But I think you're right. It does, that's probably the best thing for land, for that current project. But it does start to limit what can go there now. Whereas if he gets the property, he gets his easement, but he also has the ability to plan for what he wants to do in the future. So to me,
We could
that's.
plan the easement that way to match whatever he could possibly put
Right.
next door to it, so he can make a bigger, long-term plan.
So is that something that, is the city interested in doing that? Are we
Yes.
on board that
I am.
we have the intention to sell that property and we have the intention to purchase the property at the library?
I think it's beneficial to all.
I do.
I don't know why we would need to involve him in the purchase of the lot. I mean, we could just do that on our own.
Before we sell it, we have to have.
It was the idea of not having to take
Sell
money out of
properties. They're
reserve.
gonna
If
see
he bought it and then we had
everything.
it,
They're gonna see
we
everything.
would just trade it.
And,
Like I said, it wouldn't make.
No, no,
any
no.
difference.
The details of how it's done, I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
just-
matter to me, it's, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you guys get that property, I'm
Then
gonna
you can
lose
go
that one
forward.
there.
How much is that
And then we
property?
can- Yeah.
We can put it.
How much is it listed for?
You paid 36 for it, for that property over there, according to county records.
We paid, you're saying the Ode Bank, that's what
No,
you're?
no.
No.
He's talking about the lot at the library.
The library.
So can we do this? Can we get council approval for me to negotiate this and bring back to the council a proposal that you guys can then see, and then we can have a vote on whether we proceed or not?
I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second it.
Okay, we
But
have
you're
a-
not actually making any deals. You're just
back.
like,
Yeah, just like every other time that I enter
Just like-
negotiations, I'm talking to them and I'm coming back for council approval.
When we come
but
back,
it's not approved until we approve it, right?
That is
At the
correct,
end.
Misty,
Okay,
yes.
just
you
making
have
sure.
to have an ordinance to sell property, so it's gonna have to come back here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he could negotiate it, reduce it to that ordinance once they get that done. And then y'all would vote it up or down.
Yep. Come in.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. So Lynn, we'll start to move forward with it. Shannon, if you want to reach out to Doug and tell him that we're ready to move forward with that, we'll get some proposals put together and then we'll come back to council and get that approved. But I think, as you can tell, as a council, yes, we are on board with moving forward with that.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. And I'm real excited about this tiny house stuff too.
Me too.
Lynn, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Because you could definitely fill them up, so, you know.
All right. So item 2, authorize the mayor to proceed with an agreement with Garver to update the zoning ordinance. So let's talk about that. The mayors meet once a month, the Washington County mayors with the county judge. It's something that when Judge Wood came in, it's something he implemented to try to get everybody on the same page. We've been struggling, no fault of the planning commission. but-
Plateauing.
We've been plateauing, there we go. Trying to get this new ordinance passed. We reached out to regional planning for some help with it. It's no small task to completely redo an ordinance. Our ordinance is, I noticed someone had mentioned that it was 4 years old. That's not hardly the case. Much of it was written in the 70s or pre-70s. So, we've been trying to replace that. Regional planning, which we pay dues to yearly, and they provide a lot of support to us. I'm not knocking them. But they gave us a kind of a, and I don't mean this derogatory, but I feel like it's a hodgepodge of this is what they like in this town, this is what they like in this town, and they kind of combined it for us. The flow it's been difficult to move through. I've had difficulty. I talked, Lan asked me a question, and I'm trying to answer out of the existing ordinance, but every month I'm working on the new ordinance, right? So we're having a lot of issues. And with the growth we're seeing, we need to get that finished. At one of those mayor's meetings, I was talking about Garver, having them come in and help. They're an engineering firm. Nick's a great engineering firm. But even Nick recommends Juliet from Garver. She was a county planner for 20 years and then went into private practice. She's working with, they just finished a Gravit revamp of their zoning ordinance. She's working with Russellville right now. She has the experience that we need. I've met with her talking about this. But most of the cities, what I'm getting at is most of the cities were like, you don't have her on retainer? I'm like, no, we don't. So I feel like with the mayors that were in the room, it was pretty common practice with most of the cities in Washington County anyway, that they're already using her on an as-needed basis to supplement their planning commissions. I think we need more than a supplemental at this point. I think we need her to come in and really help guide us in the adoption of this ordinance so that we can get it on the books and move forward. And even her coming in is not, it's not an overnight thing. There's still public hearings that have to be put in place. You know, it's not like we can just put this together and be done with it. So, but she helps with that. She helps get some of the public involved. We've been begging the public to come in. You guys hear me every month begging people to come to Planning Commission as we work through that. But she assists with that. Unfortunately, she's not cheap. But good things rarely are cheap, right? And cheap things are rarely good. So the bill is, to have her come in and help with this it's pretty big. It's 26 grand, whatever. I don't remember exact number, but 26 and some change, almost 27,000, I believe. I'm asking the council to approve that because I feel so passionately that we need that. We need to get that ordinance in place and
Walter.
It is a big task. It really is. And so she showed me Gravit's, on Gravit's ordinance, it flows. So part of the problem that planning has right now with the way our ordinance is laid out and with the way the new one's laid out is you have a lot split, and so you've got certain criteria. Does it meet this? Well, part of that criteria is here. Part of it's 6 pages back. Part of it's 7 more pages back. One thing that our city has struggled with, and all of you guys, most of you guys and gals have witnessed this, but we currently have a schedule of uses in our ordinance document that says these are the buildings that we approve in these areas. Well, when that document that wasn't written 4 years ago was approved, no one had ever heard of a tiny home. No one had ever heard of an event center. No one had ever heard of an Airbnb. And so now we're faced with, our planning commission is faced with, somebody comes in and wants to do something that's newer, they can't fit it into any of our zones.
I think
This would help alleviate those problems. It gets that schedule of uses down to something that.
So how soon?
Yeah, that's my question.
How long is this gonna take her?
I'm pushing her to do it in 6 months. When I met with her, I said, can we have it by the first of the year? And she told me, I would like to say no. She said, I would like 8 or 9 months. And I said, we don't have 8 or 9 months. So she said that they would work, and with some of the stuff we already have in place, she thinks she can expedite the process, but it's still gonna be first of the year.
And she's gonna help the planning commission use what is in place now.
Yes.
To make quick fixes on some things and accommodate things that need to come in right away.
So
She could
who
work with
oversees her to say, yes, that's what we want?
The planning commission and the city council.
Okay.
We'll be coming to you with our proposal for the new Title 14.
Yeah, so they will approve what she does or disapprove, and then they make a recommendation for us to accept that.
Okay.
And John, I've worked with her in Johnson, Tawnytown. I've worked with her in Elkins, Lowell, Bentonville, Springdale. I've worked with her in Clarksville. I haven't worked with her in Russellville because I haven't worked in Russellville in a long time. I've worked with her all over the place on projects or things regularly. So that makes it a lot cheaper too, because we already know the language that we're using together, so, we've updated ordinances all over the region, so.
Well, we have the money to do it, so. I think we should
And
do
so,
it.
Jan, on that, there was some confusion when the agenda hit, Facebook, I guess, about why we have, projected reserves, outside services. If you guys remember when we did our budgeting, we had like 50 grand that we didn't have a home for. Department heads missed out on claiming that. So we were gonna put that in reserves. What Christie's essentially saying is, if we use 16,000 of that with what we already have in outside services, that would fund using her. We've used some of that other money. I think we put some of it in for the police car. We've used some of that projected reserves already, but there is still a projected reserve, and we're over budget on income, under budget on expenses, so our budget is still in good shape.
Right.
But Christie was saying, instead of putting this in reserve, let's use it because we know we have it.
That's what I say too, we've got it, let's do it, so I'm making.
So are you saying item 2 under new business? is
So
gonna
we
go?
first need to vote on the new item 2.
Okay.
Authorizing me to proceed with an agreement with her. And then second would be the authorization of that money that was projected to go into reserve.
Well, I'll make a motion that we do that.
Second.
So we have a motion and second to authorize me to proceed with an agreement with Garver
Yep.
in the amount of $26,000,
Maximum 27.
$26,440.
Correct.
Okay. All those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Item 3 is to authorize the use of $16,825 from projected reserves to put into outside services.
I make the motion that we do that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Um,
And if you want to do that before we vote, feel free to.
no. But Tom, you said that, Juliet can work with the planning commission now to change some things, maybe now, like some more,
It's inevitable, happens every time.
Okay.
Whenever she starts, I think the first thing they're gonna do is start to study a land use plan to find out, like we talked about, what do y'all want West Fork to be and look like and be in the future, and what is it now, what's it need to be? But then they'll say, but we got a lot split, we gotta look at it right now, and she will help them with the ordinance that they have. And they may even say, we need to vote on bringing the council a change right away, and then the next month, they'll bring a change that's a small fix while they're doing the big fix.
Anything else, Marty?
No.
Okay. Item 4, authorize the finance director, Christie, to open a new bank account titled City of West Fork American Rescue Plan at Farmers Merchants Bank with the same signatures as the other city accounts. What this is as of Thursday, the state of Arkansas has to release our rescue plan funds to the cities. So all the big cities, the big counties, they already received their funds from the American Rescue Plan. The smaller cities and counties have not. That money went to the state, and then the state is dispersing it to us. It has to be dispersed by the 15th of July, which is Thursday. What we want to do with that, just to better manage that and to track it, because we're going to have a federal audit of how we spend that money. There's tons of limitations. This money has to be spent in these areas by this time. It's very detailed. So what we're wanting to do is put that in a separate bank account so that we can draw on it only as we need it. We have a fantastic paper trail of exactly where those funds go to.
I'll make a motion, we allow her to open her account.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. So, as all of you are very aware, I'm a very optimistic mayor. Other business, I was optimistic that you guys would approve Juliet, so we did go ahead and schedule it. We scheduled it with with her knowing that if, council don't approve it, then we gotta cancel this, but I wanna get started on it quick, so we got her as quick as we can. The planning commission has agreed that they will change their meeting date, so she is, unfortunately, her job is at night, right? She's going to all these different cities, meeting at planning meetings in the evenings, and so trying to find an open night where she can be available to us immediately. The planning commission's gonna change some dates, but that first meeting is set for July 21st at 6:30. And you can see there, we talked about this a little bit last month, vision, goals, and objectives. I think Tom had the best comment of the night when you said instead of vision, to think of it as, what was the term you used, Tom?
All I want, just what do you want to be, is all I want.
Yeah. So instead of what's the city's vision, how do you perceive the city? What do you see when you think of Westport? What do you want to preserve? That type of thing. So you had a very good term last month. It stuck with me for about 3 days.
Trying to talk as much.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, that's just some other business. I would appreciate if you guys, if you can, make it to that meeting, meet Juliet, and just see what they're working with, where they're going. She is, I believe, Walter, she's supposed to bring some of those documents that she had prepared for Gravit, if I'm not mistaken, just so everybody can kind of get a feel for how it went together, how it's structured.
Where's this meeting they're meeting?
You guys are meeting here now. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So for mayor's comments, I don't have a lot this month. It's been
2 minutes.
It's been a relatively quiet month. We've been busy, but yes, we'll do Ask the Mayor on Friday. So I'm booked with Isaac. Shannon and I usually meet about 3. So we, at our last department head meeting, this was Chad's idea, but we put in place something that we're gonna start. It's a 7-week process. We have 7 departments, and Chad put together a nice map showing how the department heads would get together and meet. And so what we're gonna do is, even though we're a small city, I think sometimes it gets lost what one department does and what another department does. So we're going around and we're meeting with a different department head. So say Tracy's gonna meet with Shannon, and on Thursday, or whatever, Chad designed it as Thursdays and Fridays, but when Tracy comes to Shannon, Shannon has a list of topics that she's gonna talk about. This is what I do in my job day to day. These are my weaknesses. These are my strengths. These are my opportunities. This is where I see the department going. Just an overall assessment of what the library is. And then maybe some discussions. How can court and library, how can they work together? Are there any options for that? And so the next day, Shannon will go to the court and she'll meet with Tracy. So just an hour one day, during that week. So we'll do it over 7 weeks. And then the odd guy out, which is Isaac this week, meets with the mayor for his yearly evaluation. And so
Chad was just looking for some free labor.
Yeah. Chad put himself last with me, I think. But,
I get the mayor the week TJ's on vacation.
Yeah.
I'll put him on the road.
But we're supposed to keep these meetings to an hour or less. But anyway, I think it'll be good, even though we are a small city. I think it'll be good for the departments. We work extremely well together now, but I think that's only going to encourage more cooperation among the departments and a better understanding of some of the issues and the day-to-day problems that this department is going through that maybe the rest of us don't see. So I just think it'll help build cohesion among our departments, more cohesion than what we currently have. I'm really excited to sit down with the department heads and see their plans. I'm really hoping that they're open and they're honest with these, that we can have a good discussion about opportunities and weaknesses, about where we want those departments to go to, what we think our departments will look like in 10 years, or 5 years, 2 years, whatever you guys come up with. But I love doing those kind of things. and we haven't done it as department heads in a long time, and some of the department heads weren't even department heads at that time, so.
So it wasn't Chad's idea?
No, it was Chad's
Oh,
idea,
okay.
I'm just, I'm facilitating.
Well, next time you want something guaranteed, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that, you probably need to let Shannon put that together. Her speech was pretty good.
Good, did you hear that, Shannon?
She did good.
So she wasn't even paying attention?
We're scheduling our
We're
It's relevant.
So the council just said that you did a very good job with your presentation tonight. And again, I apologize if it feels like I rushed this on you guys. That was never the intention. I thought that I would.
Kind of rushed on you, didn't it?
It did, more so than I was expecting. I thought this was probably 3 or 4 months for us to consider, and it's moved rapidly. I'm happy that it has, but.
We need it. We need that space for the library.
That's how most good opportunities show up.
Yep.
You
Well,
just
I
have to
feel
be willing and able to jump on.
he's planning something and already has a draw up of what his intentions are, so this would be a final straw.
He's just
Maybe-
scaring you.
Maybe so, I thank you all for.
So is he gonna mow it this week?
All Chad cares about is who's mowing.
All right, with that, Lan, I just want to thank you one more time for coming
Thank you,
down.
sir.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Good to see somebody.
Yes.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
make that motion.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Thank you, guys.